Name one of the most popular sports in America without a black superstar. NASCAR, the hugely popular car racing circuit. And NASCAR is determined to do something about that because it makes sense, as in dollars and cents. Here's NBC's Fred Francis.
Bill Lester is the only black man racing in America's fastest growing sport.
I've been so impressed this week with Bill Lester out of Oakland, California.
NASCAR, with 40 million hardcore fans, is trying to shed its redneck reputation.
NASCAR realizes to continue to fill the stands, they're going to have to reach out to everybody.
NASCAR's spectacular crashes and stunning speeds has been the sole domain of Southerners who raced out of mountain hollers decades ago onto racing teams that now cost a minimum of $15 million a year. Sadly, critics say, most corporations will not risk their marketing dollars on black drivers. Black ball players, you bet, they say, that's a gold mine. Black drivers, that's a money pit.
What's next?
Because officials say drivers have the celebrity and revenue pull of rock stars. There is no black Dale Earnhardt Jr., NASCAR's reigning icon. Enter Bill Lester. Dodge gave the 41-year-old engineer a chance because, said one executive, the Detroit racing adage is true. A win on Sunday sells on Monday, and blacks buy cars too.
There's really going to have to be a driver, hopefully myself, that can take the ball and run with it and give this sport the nationwide exposure that it deserves. Basically, the Tiger Woods, Venus, and Serena Williams phenomenon.
Lester hasn't won yet. Entering the final month of the season, he's the second-ranking rookie racing trucks. Others see opportunity like baseball's Reggie Jackson. He's bought into a racing team.
I really haven't had any problem, but I will tell you it's taken me 25 years to get involved.
Go.
North Carolina A&T wants into the action now. The Black College offers a degree in race engineering in what was once called a Bubba sport.
The idea that $550 billion just from just one sector of the economy is pumped into this thing every race season kind of takes the Bubba out of it. It's a Mr. Bubba sport.
Bill Lester knows Dodge and NASCAR are betting heavily on him.
I mean, people around me tell me I'm doing a bang-up job, but, you know, until we get that win and everything, I'm unfulfilled.
To grow the sport and to sell cars, NASCAR and Detroit need a Bill Lester win, too. Fred Francis, NBC News, Daytona.
Tell me about Bill Lester, how you got started racing.
Well, I started racing as a result of my infatuation with cars as a kid. You know, my father took me to a race when I was about 8 years old at Laguna Seca, and I was just blown away by the speed, the sound, the smells, just the excitement of motorsports. Right. And, you know, I was at that impressionable age, about 8 years old or such, and I just knew that was something that would be fun to do. But, you know, through those years, you know, I was always into cars, into, you know, magazines, seeing cars in magazines, you know, when I was really young, Hot Wheels and stuff like that, and I was always interested in speed, you know. I had a Stingray bicycle, and I would race the kids in the neighborhood, and, you know, the faster I could ride, the better, and I was a skier in California when I was living there, and, you know, I was never into form. I was into speed. You know, I was a downhill racer, and I've always just had this adrenaline rush for speed. And it wasn't really until I got my driver's license that I started pushing the envelope with regard to speed. And I found myself typically on the wrong side of the law. And it was suggested to me, you know, that you got a knack for this sort of thing, but why don't you do it in a legal, organized fashion and go out there to, you know, what I went to was Sports Car Club of America driver school when I was basically at a point when I could afford to do it myself after I had gotten my degree in electrical engineering and computer science from Cal Berkeley. Right. Started working for Hewlett Packard Computer Company. I immediately took my streetcar and modified it, put a roll bar in it and fire extinguisher and everything, and went out there to driver school and wound up being the best student in the class, and then went out there to road racing. My first race, you know, it went well, and that first year I got Rookie of the Year for you know, for Northern California. Right. And then the next year I got you know, class champion for, you know, for the region, and I just kept on trying to climb the ladder. But, you know, initially starting out, it was just as a kid, you know, just in love with cars.
Tell me about Berkeley and how an electrical engineering student becomes a racer after that? I mean, that's not your average. If you look down the bio sheets of a lot of the guys, you're not going to see electrical engineering, especially at some place like Cal Berkeley.
Yeah, it's not your typical career path for a racing driver, is it? The fact is that I was very heavily influenced by my father once again, who was working at IBM at the time, and he was basically doing something where it was basically computational chemistry, and he used computers a lot. And I was also very interested in the technology side. I mean, I thought computers, this was back in the time, you know, when computers took up a whole basement, you know, as opposed to basically being on your desk, you know. The only thing on your desk at that time was a terminal. The computer was basically dedicated to a whole room. And I mean, I just loved seeing the lights blinking and the tape reel spinning and everything. And I was like, you know, this could be cool. You know, it'd be kind of interesting to go into, you know, computers. And at the same time, I realized there was great you know, career opportunity being in the computer industry. And I also thought, gee, what would be probably one of the fastest ways to get a degree and to get into an occupation where I could afford to go racing? Well, an engineering degree and an engineering you know, career would probably allow me to do that. And so that's what kind of took me in the career path of engineering. And it just so happened that it winds up being a great base, as far as I'm concerned, for racing, because racing has got a very strong technical slant on it right now. But that's what led me into engineering and, you know, my career path there. But I didn't think it was going to take me as long as it's taken me to get to where I am back then. I thought, well, heck, maybe 3 or 4 years working in, you know, high tech, and I'll be out there racing professionally. It basically became a very long time to get to where I am now, but I'm happy to be here.